No matter who you are, no matter where you're at, no matter what kind of business you run, no matter how long you've been doing it, I promise you there is something you do that someone else knows how to do faster, smoother, easier, less friction, whatever, right? And what I hope a question like, what else don't I know, will inspire in you is this idea that every obstacle you're facing, every opportunity you're facing, every problem you are trying to suss out and trying to solve, you might not know the answer to it today, but the possibility that more things, more options exist than you can see should be liberating, right? It should make you say, okay, I don't have them yet, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. Welcome to Your Business is Not Your Boss. I am your host, Geoff Welch, and I help small business owners overcome overwhelm and replace overthinking with intentional action. Welcome to episode 38 of Your Business is Not Your Boss. I am your host and small business coach, Geoff Welch, and today we are going to be talking about a question you should probably be asking yourself more. You want to make progress? You want to get where you want to go? This is a good one, okay? But before we get into that, I do want to remind you, I have something for you that is going to help you change your relationship with your business today. Like starting today, that change can begin, okay? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like there's too much coming at you, there is so many other priorities that are compromising your ability to do the work as a small business owner that is most important to you and your business, my anti-overwhelm playbook is going to be a huge get for you, okay? Inside, you're going to find some scenarios, some tips, some tricks, some ways to approach dealing with that overwhelm that I promise will help you start shifting from my business runs my life to my business works for me, right? My business is in charge of me and it demands things from me to I tell my business how it is supposed to fit and how it is supposed to enrich my life, right? That's the goal, I think, right? We want our businesses to be a vehicle for creating the life that we want, not being something that runs us over and leaves us a little bloody and bruised. You know, there are going to be those moments, but the overarching theme, I think, should be that we love our businesses because of what they do for us, okay? So if you're feeling any bit of that overwhelm, that maybe stuckness, that sense of not making the progress you want to make as a small business owner, just go to jeffwelch.com/playbook to get that anti-overwhelm playbook today. All right. How's it going? I hope you all are doing well. I just feel like, I don't know, we're 38 episodes in, and I know, so YouTube folks, there is an audio version of this you can listen to in your car. Audio folks, there is a YouTube version of this that you can watch if you just haven't seen enough of me, okay? So I just want to make that clear, but I feel like at this point, like we're hanging out together, right? Like there should be some time to meet and greet here a little bit, but I hope you all are well. I hope that wherever you are at in your week, that things are going the way that you would like them to be going, and if not, maybe this could be a little bit of a trigger to help you shift your focus, shift your mindset, and get you into the zone maybe that you want to be in. Okay? So today I promised you a question, and I'm going to preface this by, or at least begin this, I guess, maybe preface is the wrong word. I want to begin by sharing the story of this little video that I came across. I don't know where these things come from. Right? Like, I think many of you can relate to this. You are scrolling through social media and you stumble upon something that you're just like, I don't know how this got to me, but it's the funniest. So in this video, it is a man sitting on a couch with a laptop in his lap, and his wife is filming him, and he is in shocked disbelief as he has just learned that if you use two fingers to scroll on your trackpad of your laptop, it will scroll the page. So one finger moves your mouse around, two fingers will scroll the page. He is a full-grown man who has just discovered this, and of course, his wife is laughing hysterically. And in fact, she's saying that she just taught her second graders, I assume she's a teacher, she just taught her second graders how to do that this year. So this full-grown man is just discovering something that second graders are learning, right? And the video ends, they kind of go back and forth, and she's sort of laughing at him, and he's laughing at himself, but he still is like, he can't believe that it's real, like this is real. And she says, every laptop you've ever had has been able to do this. And he's like, no, there's no way that that's possible. Now, I am old enough to know that not every laptop I've ever had has been able to do that. But it has been, it's a feature that's been around for quite a while, right? This is not an uncommon experience to use two fingers to scroll on your trackpad in order to, have a different, something different happen on screen than when you use one finger. So he can't believe it. He can't believe that this is something that he's been missing out on all this time. And the video ends, or at least it comes close to a close, with him saying, "What else don't I know?" And he's just like, he looks like a kid in a candy store. And that is, I think, what I love about this and why I think this question is so valuable. Because the question, what else don't I know, can send us in a couple of different directions. As I'll start from the cynical side of things, it can send us in the direction of, oh my goodness, there are so many things out there that I don't know yet. This is overwhelming and it's terrifying, right? That's not a good feeling. It can send us in the direction of asking what else don't I know might prove that I'm not as smart as I think that I am, and I don't want to do that, right? So there are these kind of like negative connotations to the idea of what else don't I know. But I think there's also this beautiful, hopeful, opportunistic kind of thing that says, I've just, like, so in his case, I've just discovered something that is going to make my life easier. Is there more of this? Are there more things that if I learned a little bit about how this all works, that would make everything easier, right? That would, maybe there are things that I do every single day that could be easier than they are. And small business owners, I am telling you, there are. No matter who you are, no matter where you're at, no matter what kind of business you run, no matter how long you've been doing it, I promise you, there is something you do that someone else knows how to do faster, smoother, easier, less friction, whatever, right? And what I hope a question like, what else don't I know, will inspire in you is this idea that every obstacle you're facing, every opportunity you're facing, every problem you are trying to suss out and trying to solve, you might not know the answer to it today, but the possibility that more things, more options exist than you can see should be liberating, right? It should make you say, okay, I don't have them yet, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. The fact that I don't know specifically what to do in this moment, or that I don't know exactly what the correct sequence of steps is, does not mean that there is no solution. Every once in a while, I will be doing a crossword puzzle or playing Sudoku. I always say it wrong. I think it's Sudoku. And I'll get stuck on something. And I am just like, why can't I see it? I cannot conjure what the solution to this problem is. And for example, a Rubik's Cube, that starts at the very beginning. I don't mess around with Rubik's Cubes. I give it like 30 seconds to a Rubik's Cube, and then I'm like, I'm done. And I know that the masters of it can solve it in way less than 30 seconds, but I don't have any patience for that. That is so far beyond where I'm at in this moment that it's just not worth it to me. But there are so many things that when I sit there and I look at it, I'm like, you know that someone else out there could look at this and say, oh, it's that. And so sometimes it's a matter of finding that person. Sometimes it's a matter of putting yourself in the right context. Sometimes there's these times where I will look at a crossword puzzle and I'm like, I can't figure it out. I come back to it half an hour later and I reread the clue and I look at the spaces and it just like, there it is. I got it. So sometimes you have to like give yourself a break from it. But the important thing, the thing that matters most is this starting point of saying, I am willing to take on the beginner's mindset. I am willing to take on a posture of curiosity instead of saying, I don't get it. Can you see this? I'm crossing my arms. I realize I'm the audio version, you're not going to be able to see that. I'm crossing my arms and I'm saying, I can't see the answer. It must not exist. So that's a way to go. That's one approach. But what is likely to happen there is you are going to stifle your progress, the progress of your business, the progress of the people on your team. You're going to shut it all down because you are unwilling to explore possibilities that you haven't already learned about. And let me tell you, I get it. The path to new understanding, the path to of learning and of growth always runs through incompetence. Right? I've dabbled with the piano, I've dabbled with French. Any amount of aptitude I've gained at either of those things has been only because I've been willing to be so terrible at them for at least a little while. French, I'm still quite terrible at. Piano, I'm only serviceable at, but that was my goal, was to just be able to communicate on the piano a little bit, right? But every one of these things, every arena in which we want to grow and learn requires us to go through this stage of being ignorant, of being unschooled, of being without a clue about how to do something. And that is uncomfortable. It is something that we don't often love to feel. I certainly don't like it. There are, even on the drums, I've been playing the drums for 35 years, something like that. And there are still these moments when I try to challenge myself with something that I don't do well, and I don't like it. I want to gravitate back towards the thing that I know. I want to gravitate back to the thing that already feels comfortable. And it feels so good, but I never go anywhere. It is so nice to just sit there and say, I'm good at this. This is something that is easy to do. Wonderful. But then I just stay there, right? Because you don't change and grow by doing only the things that feel comfortable and that you are used to. And so what we find so often as small business owners is there is this subtle, maybe subconscious draw to keeping things the way they are, even if it's hurting us, because it feels better to be the expert at a thing, even if it's a thing that isn't working as well anymore, or a thing that isn't getting us the results that we hope for. And I think that the master skill here for small business owners everywhere is to constantly be saying, and we talked about the struggle and the challenge a little bit ago, to constantly be saying, what's the next challenge, right? What is the next arena in which I need to grow? What else don't I know, right? What is the something else that I need to be exploring, and to say, yeah, I know how to use this tool pretty well, but or I know how to do this process pretty well, but is it possible that there are alternative approaches? What if I talk to my team about other ways to do that process? Or what if I talk to somebody else who uses this tool and got some insight from them? I'm working with a client right now who they're doing a bunch of documentation inside their organization, and they were trying to figure out how to collect everyone's unique hacks and tricks with a specific piece of software. Because they know that across the organization, people are using it and they have shortcuts and keyboard tricks and all these kind of things, but none of them are saved in one spot, right? So everyone has their own little bag of tricks, but they don't know someone else's bag of tricks. And so we start talking about like, well, what if you did like an internal lunch and learn where you guys just nerded out on this software? And to me, it's a little bit like the idea of like kids going to the skate park or like, break dancing under the bridge or something like that. They all just go and they're just there to show each other what they can do. And you then see what someone else does and say, oh, hey, well, how about this? Or they see something you're doing and they're like, that's really cool. I'd like to incorporate that. But it's only by sharing collectively, right? Going into this thing and saying, it's possible I don't know something. It's possible there's something I could learn here today. It's only by embracing that we ever learn those things, right? So we need to have this beginner's mindset, which again is about incompetence. It's about setting our ego aside, the part of us that says it is important for me to be smart, to be capable, to be all these things. I think that's fantastic to be smart and capable, right? But I do think we need to be able to put it on pause and set it aside and say, in this context, it's more important that I'm curious. It's more important that I explore than that I am smart and capable. So to put those things on and take on this beginner's mindset that says, I want to learn about the things I don't know. I want to be able to explore something and come away with a new insight than I've had before, more than I want to prove how smart I am. And man, the people who can do that well, the people who are willing, some people, I think it's just more natural. They're just curious all the time and they don't have the same ego hangups as others of us do. They may have other ego hangups, right? But they're not the same ones. And so they're able to just go into a situation and be like, wow, that's fascinating. Tell me more. Whereas some of us are like, I want to prove that I'm just as smart as you are. I've never, ever felt that at all in my life. Not once. It gets us all at some point, right? But to be able to have that beginner's mindset opens so many doors and unlocks so many possibilities. So that might mean talking to people who are in your industry and, querying them about something that you're wrestling with. It might mean talking to people outside of your industry. To me, that's a huge one. And saying, how would you approach this problem? Knowing nothing about the internal nuances of what I do, what would your approach be? I think sometimes we can get tremendous insights from people who don't know our industry as well, because they're not hung up on all the same rules that the rest of us are when it comes to, they just look at it with fresh eyes and say, have you thought about this? That may mean taking a class. It may mean, watching YouTube to learn about X, Y, and Z. It may mean working with a coach like me. I mean, those are possibilities, right? Somebody who can help you see differently. Someone who can challenge your thinking and press you in a safe environment to set aside maybe some of the things that are just your default and the default filters, I guess, that rule out certain possibilities from the first step. There are lots of ways to take this approach, and I don't think that this is a matter of saying there are so many things that you don't know, and when you come up against a problem, the first person you ask will have the answer, right? Some of this stuff is going to be a process of learning and of just uncovering. And what I'm challenging you with here is to be open, to not close yourself off from the possibilities that may exist around you, to not be so to not be so convinced that you're right and that you know all the things, or that the things you know are enough. To not be so much that you are unwilling to say, but what if? But what if someone does know something that I need to know, or that I could really, really be helped by? To take that posture will open so many doors for you, will unlock so many possibilities, that I'd like to think that you will say, man, asking that question is so worth it. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but in the long run, there are things that I have accomplished in my business. There are things that I have been able to engineer in my business that I would never have been able to do if I hadn't started asking that question. What else don't I know? Just open yourself up to the possibility that there is more out there, that there are solutions, that there are faster ways, that there are tricks, there are hacks, there are just possibilities you can't see from where you sit. It can be overwhelming or it can be liberating, right? And I think you get to choose how you approach that, right? So I hope you will take that as an invitation to say, the things I'm struggling with, I can have a little more hope today than I had yesterday, because now I see that there may be possibilities. Like, I'll land this really quick, but it blows my mind that I've got my iPhone here, right? My iPhone is a computer. I mean, it is a futurist. From where I came from as a kid, this thing is insane what it can do, right? Because when I was a kid, you plugged a phone into the wall, and that was how you talked to people. And when my grandparents were kids, you picked up a phone and someone else like literally plugged wires, cables to connect you to someone else in your town so that you could speak to them. And that was amazing. And there was a time when somebody sent letters, and the idea that you could pick up a device and talk to someone hundreds or thousands of miles away was incomprehensible. And the thing that melts my brain about this was everything needed to make this iPhone was there the whole time. It's always existed. So we just didn't have the ability to create the machinery that would help us to make it, or to put the right parts together, to know the science and the math and all these kind of things. But the component parts for all of the technology that would have seemed 100 years ago, would have seemed unfathomable. It was already there. We just didn't know how to synthesize it. And that's the same idea as what else don't I know, right? The idea that there are solutions that exist. It's our job to tap into them. It's our job to be willing to explore and to be willing to say, it's okay if I don't know everything. It's not okay if I stop there. All right? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling any of those kind of things, a great place to start is this anti-overwhelm playbook that I've put together for you. You can get it at geoffwelch.com. I hope you will go grab it today. It can be a key to getting you started, right? It will start changing your relationship with your business today. It's a quick read, but has a lot of really valuable stuff inside there. So I hope you will do that. Go to geoffwelch.com/playbook and grab that right now, okay? So possibility exists all around you. There are plenty of things you don't know yet. Just embrace that, okay? And don't forget, your business is not your boss.